It was supposed to be a night of celebration. Microsoft, the tech giant, was marking a milestone: 50 years of innovation. The atmosphere was electric, buzzing with excitement and anticipation. Bigwigs were there. Bill Gates made an appearance. Satya Nadella, too. But amidst the celebratory toasts and self-congratulatory speeches, a different kind of energy emerged. A dissenting voice pierced through the carefully orchestrated facade. The protesters, Microsoft employees themselves, were deeply troubled by the company's involvement in Israeli military operations. They saw it as a betrayal of the company's supposed values. The protest, though peaceful, sent shockwaves through the event. It was a stark reminder of the growing unease within the tech industry about the ethical implications of artificial intelligence, particularly its use in warfare. The incident quickly went viral, sparking a global debate about the role of corporations in conflict zones and the urgent need for ethical guidelines in the development and deployment of AI. The decisions made in Silicon Valley have very real consequences in the world. The protesters' anger was rooted in a deep-seated fear, the fear of unchecked technological power being used for devastating purposes. They were particularly concerned about Microsoft's development of AI-powered tools for the Israeli military. These tools, they argued, were being used to surveil Palestinians, predict their movements, and even select targets for drone strikes. The use of AI in warfare is not new. Militaries around the world have been investing heavily in autonomous weapon systems, hoping to gain an edge on the battlefield. Proponents of AI in warfare argue that it can actually make warfare safer, reducing civilian casualties by making targeting more precise. But critics counter that these arguments are dangerously naive. They argue that AI systems, for all their sophistication, are still prone to errors and biases. And then there's the moral question. Should we be entrusting machines with life or death decisions? What happens when an algorithm makes a mistake? Who is accountable? These are questions we need answers to, like yesterday. Ibtihal Abu-Saad and Vanya Agarwal, the two Microsoft employees who bravely interrupted the anniversary event, became the unlikely faces of this ethical firestorm. They were not seasoned activists, they were software engineers, people who dedicated their lives to building technology. But they were also deeply troubled by what they saw as the weaponization of their work. Abu-Saad, visibly shaken but resolute, addressed the crowd, her voice trembling with emotion. Microsoft is powering genocide, she declared, accusing the company of complicity in the deaths of thousands of Palestinians. Her words, though shocking to some, resonated with many others who shared her concerns. Agarwal, in a separate incident later that evening, echoed Abu-Saad's sentiments, confronting Bill Gates, Steve Ballmer, and Satya Nadella directly. She pleaded with them to reconsider the company's involvement in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, arguing that Microsoft had a moral obligation to use its technology for good, not for harm. Their actions, though met with applause from some corners of the internet, came at a personal cost. Both Abu-Saad and Agarwal were swiftly escorted out of the event and later reported losing access to their work accounts. Their story is a testament to the courage of ordinary individuals who are willing to risk everything to stand up for what they believe in. Section 4, Microsoft's response, a delicate balancing act. The protests put Microsoft in a difficult position. On the one hand, the company has a long-standing policy of supporting the Israeli government and its military. On the other hand, it's facing increasing pressure from its employees, investors, and the public to take a more ethical stance on the use of its technology. In a carefully worded statement released shortly after the event, Microsoft acknowledged the concerns raised by its employees, but defended its relationship with the Israeli military. The company emphasized its commitment to responsible AI principles and pledged to ensure that its technology is used ethically and responsibly. However, the statement stopped short of condemning the Israeli government's actions or announcing any changes to its existing contracts. Critics accused Microsoft of hiding behind vague pronouncements and failing to take concrete action to address the ethical concerns raised by its employees. They argued that the company's continued involvement in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict made its claims of ethical AI ring hollow. The protests exposed a growing rift between tech companies and their employees, many of whom are increasingly uncomfortable with the real-world consequences of the technologies they're building. It's a rift that's only going to widen as AI becomes more powerful and its impact on society more profound. Except instead of music, it's facial recognition software. Section 5. The debate rages on, examining the arguments. The protests at Microsoft's anniversary event were not an isolated incident. They were a symptom of a much larger debate raging within the tech industry and society at large. What are the ethical limits of AI, and who gets to decide? On one side of the debate are those who believe that AI is a powerful tool that can be used for good or evil, just like any other technology. They argue that we should focus on developing safeguards to prevent its misuse, rather than trying to stifle innovation. They point to the potential for AI to revolutionize healthcare, transportation, and countless other industries, improving lives and solving some of the world's most pressing problems. They argue that the benefits of AI far outweigh the risks. On the other side of the debate are those who believe that AI poses an existential threat to humanity. They warn that we are on the cusp of creating something we don't fully understand and may not be able to control. The truth, as is often the case, likely lies somewhere in between these two extremes. Section 6. The urgency of now, a call for ethical action. The debate over AI ethics is not some abstract philosophical discussion. It has real-world implications that are already being felt around the world. From biased algorithms perpetuating discrimination to autonomous weapon systems blurring the lines of accountability, the consequences of unchecked AI development are becoming increasingly clear. The time for complacency is over. We can't afford to wait for a catastrophic AI-related event to force our hand. We need to act now to establish clear ethical guidelines and regulations for the development and deployment of AI. This is not just the responsibility of governments and policymakers. Tech companies, as the creators of these powerful technologies, have a moral obligation to ensure that their creations are used for good, not for harm. They need to move beyond lip service to ethical AI principles and start taking concrete action to embed those principles into their products and services. This includes investing in research on AI ethics, fostering open dialogue among stakeholders, and developing mechanisms for accountability and redress when AI systems cause harm. It also means rejecting lucrative contracts that would contribute to human suffering, even if it means sacrificing short-term profits. The future of AI is not predetermined. It's up to us, as a society, to shape its trajectory. Section 7. Shaping the Future AI at a Crossroads. The protests at Microsoft's anniversary event were a wake-up call. They were a reminder that we are at a crossroads in the development of AI, and the decisions we make today will have profound consequences for generations to come. We can choose to continue down the current path, allowing the pursuit of profit to dictate the development and deployment of AI, regardless of the ethical implications. Or, we can choose a different path, one where ethical considerations are paramount, and the development of AI is guided by a deep respect for human dignity and a commitment to the common good. The path forward will not be easy. It will require difficult conversations, uncomfortable compromises, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. The future of AI is not yet written,